then Fraz, the head coach, gets a phone call, and it's from the GM. And then he gets off and he goes, "Well, boys, I don't think we're coming back." And I'm like, "What do you mean coming back? We get fired or something?" Everything I have is in my room at the Renaissance. Then we finally find out, yeah, we're definitely not coming back. So this is really what it looked like to be a professional hockey person in the KHL in Russia when COVID hit. And what happened when the organization decided in the second year of the deal that it's complicated. If you've watched the first two episodes of the KHL series I did, you'd kind of know that I don't want to say it went smoothly, but I kept it light. I told some crazy, chaotic stories about how it started for me there and whatnot. Me being in Beijing in the Russian KHL league was crazy enough in it of itself. But all in all, we had a good time and things were going well, I'll say, up until January 22nd of 2020. Now, I can't remember for sure if it was the 22nd. It might have been the 21st, but it was right around then. And we were getting ready to go on I think like a week and a half road trip to Russia. And coaching staff, we're in the Renaissance. That's where we're living. And in Beijing, go down to the lobby. I packed for a week, week and a half, and get to the shuttle. And our driver's waiting for us. We got treated pretty well, I will say. So I get in the shuttle, myself, Kurt Fraser, the head coach, Steve Casper, assistant coach, and Alex Kovalev, the other assistant coach. We hop in and doing our regular thing. We've been doing this a while now, and we're all just kind of looking on our phones, talking, whatever. And then Fraz, the head coach, gets a phone call, and it's from the GM. And he's talking, and you could see it in Fraz's face. He went all serious, and then he gets off and he goes, "Well, boys, I don't think we're coming back." And I'm like, "What do you mean coming back? We get fired or something?" What do you mean? He said, the GM just said, in a kind of not a lot of detail, because it was all this new stuff, that there's this virus, and in Wuhan, which is not too terribly far, and that we're not going to be allowed to come back and enter into China once we're gone. And I'm like, so many things are whirling around my head. I'm like, everything I have is in my room at the Renaissance. And I'm like, so what are we doing then? And then he's like, "Hold on, he's going to call me back." And so we're driving to the airport and we're figuring this out as we're getting ready to leave. And now seeing the players at the airport, and everybody's like, not a clue what's going on. Then we finally find out, yeah, we're definitely not coming back. And they're working out the details now, but it looks like we're going to base out of Moscow in a hotel for the remainder of the season. And all of our home games will be spotted at different places in, Moscow, Avangard, these different places. And that'll be our home game, but we're at their rink. It was kooky, man. And I was like, this is effed. Like, but anyways, we fly out, and then, the news, it was really weird because there was more stuff we could hear in Russia, but very little coming from the actual team. It was very hush hush. So like there's a lot of digging and a lot of uncertainty. I had no idea if the season was going to even finish. And, we were doing these, some people would get sick and there'd be these massive quarantines, but it was crazy. It was nuts. So when we get to Russia and we park it at one of these hotels and kind of started from there. One thing that was different now looking back, I didn't know this as it was happening, but I look back at how it operated well in Russia, and it was way different than once I got back to Canada, which is a whole other story. I They were like the bubble, like there was like massive shutdown. That never occurred in Russia while I was there. They were still we were playing the games, but we were, the team was being very cautious, about anyone being sick and things like that. And there were like a couple times where there were like five, six guys, and they were like, I look back at it, like there was probably COVID flying all through that team. You know what I mean? Some people just didn't say anything because they were just feeling a little icky or whatever. But yeah, it was not like how I saw it in North America. And being in those rinks, and they're supposedly our home games, I think I got a shot or two of us. It was kind of a joke because they actually put our logo on the ice for our home games, and we're in their rink. And I'm pretty sure, I hope I can find it. If I do, I'll plaster it up right now. But it was, we were rolling with it, let's just say. So we get through the season, and as it's ending, like we go right down to the wire. We were in that last playoff spot, and it went down right to the very end. So we literally had no locked flights or had no idea when we were getting home. And then we were getting more and more information from North America as to the seriousness of lockdowns and things. And we were kind of freaking, are we going to be able to get back into our own countries? Um, so we go down right down to the wire, and then we lose. And we're in, geez, I don't even know where we were at. Sibir, somewhere, some small place. And that night, everybody's, up in the hotel all night and talking, and people are sitting in the lobby, they're drinking or whatever, and arranging flights. Like some guys are literally leaving in a few hours because we were staying up all night, kind of thing. And so for the coaching staff, they arrange our flights, and so it's basically we're saying bye, and the GM is not giving us any idea about our future because we have multi-year contracts, and the league, and they were kind of playing it up. A few things were said about the GM would say like, gee, I don't even know if there's going to be a league. Like, we don't know if it's going to be running for next season. And so I tried not to overthink that. I was just like, let's just get out of here and just get home. So I managed a flight. I could only get to Moscow uh, right away out of that place, wherever we were at. And I said, let me do that first. And then also the GM said, I'm going to be in Moscow if we could have a meeting. So I was like, yeah, sure. Where? And he's like, well, I have he called an office up at the top of the freaking Ritz. So I'm like, sure. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Um, this might be it. I'm gonna have a good time, stay there. So I stayed like 4 days at the Ritz, and tried to enjoy the last bit of time I thought might be in Russia. And so I was in Moscow, had the meeting, and I could tell that I better be prepared that something might be bent or skewed as far as the rest of my contract. So I booked the flight, and I literally still didn't know I was getting my wife to try to contact the airport if I'm going to get in. What do I need? Uh, so I remember getting to the airport, and there's all this weird shit. Like, they were already, rules were abound, but I make it through, and and then that's where the whole contract thing kind of went sideways. Once I was back, had many discussions, and I'll just keep it at this. I don't really know what the actual reason was. They said that because of the challenges of keeping the league going and all this stuff with COVID, that they're going to try to just hire Russian coaches because they didn't think they were going to be able to run the team out of China, anywhere like Beijing or wherever. And they were saying that, yeah, I think we're going to be doing how we finished off the year. We're just going to base the team in some place close to Moscow, I think. And they were going to go with just Russian coaches because bringing someone in and COVID and just a lot of unknown. And that went on and dragged out for a while. But to keep it short, it got settled. It sorted itself out. And I didn't go back. And that's when I started talking to people during the bubble thing, and some of the guys reaching out, and slowly but surely that's where the whole goalie therapist kind of idea started. It's weird, eh? How things work out. There's so much more in that KHL year. And who knows, I might add a fourth episode just because there are so many really cool stories. I'd even love to have my buddy Steve Casper. He doesn't like doing media stuff or social media, but if I could convince him, uh, we'd have a good time because we became real close there because it was when you have that much chaos and craziness that you're not used to, and you become friends with someone, you share that experience and you become even closer. So I'd love to have him on. We'll see. But yeah, the whole COVID thing, it was weird because I have a whole different view of it um, now. But looking at that time, it was like I didn't know what the hell was going on. And to be over in a place like that in Russia, and then also living in China, where it originated, it's like pretty crazy stuff, actually. Um, how it all went down. Yeah.